Hey everyone, happy Friday. This is a typical Friday night for me. It's about 7:40 p.m. and I am often cooking on a Friday night, or I might be sewing or cleaning or at the gym. But tonight I'm going to do something that I've been wanting to do for a while, which is kind of demonstrate my gourmet chocolate chip cookie recipe. I do classes on this at my home sometimes, but thought I'd put it into a video format. Got a little music playing in the background, some oldies, so that'll be fun. We're gonna start with a pound of butter. I know that sounds like a lot of butter, but it makes a lot of cookies. So I've got it softened just about the right amount. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it into my Bosch mixer and whip it up just a little bit. And then I'll add 2 cups of packed brown sugar. Try to do this as quickly as I can. Just takes a minute to do it all. All right, so now I have my brown sugar. It's light brown sugar. Can hardly hear the music, so let's maybe turn it up a tiny bit. So this is light brown sugar. It happens to be the Kroger brand. I've tried all the different brands and this one seems to stay soft for the longest in this package. Although brown sugar doesn't last a super long time around my house because I'm constantly baking cookies. Mostly for clients, but for neighbors, for friends, for any worker that comes to my house, like I don't know, an electrician, a landscaper, whoever, you know. So I've got 1 cup packed sugar. Put the 2 cups in. Then I will be whipping that together, kind of creaming the brown sugar and butter together first. So I kind of pack it down in, inside the package, so I'm not actually touching the brown sugar. Okay, there we go. So 2 cups, I'll close that in a minute. Let me get the lid on here so we don't get brown sugar and butter flying all over the kitchen. Okay, so that's creamed together. I'm going to scrape it off the sides here. And then I'm going to add 4 extra large eggs. I happen to have eggs that are like pasture raised, free range, nice organic free range eggs, beautiful eggs. So I never want to keep the mixer running while I'm putting the eggs in. I did that one time and I dropped a shell in and suddenly I had eggshells throughout the entire cookie dough, which was not good. All right, so there we go. And the eggs, I always do the eggs at room temperature because I feel like they whip up a lot easier. So you put the lid on that, and then really this is kind of like the secret part of making this dough, because you have to really whip the brown sugar and butter and eggs together till it's really super fluffy. So I'll show you how that is when it's done. So I mix it together first pretty well, and then I kind of scrape it down a little bit. Then I'll turn it on speed 3, which is the highest speed, and just let it, whip for a good, this is a powerful mixer bit, so good maybe 2 minutes until it's super fluffy. So put that lid back on and let it go. So I know it's really hard to hear. You probably can't hear too well over the mixer, but I can't really make it any quieter. But I have 3 cups of chocolate chips here. have Ghirardelli 60%. I have Ghirardelli. These happen to be non-dairy, but they're 50% cacao. They're super delicious. And then I have these semi-sweet chocolate chips. I don't know what percentage they are of chocolate, but it's fun to mix different chocolate chips together. This is really good. This off of here real quick just so I can show. So it's one of my favorite things to do, just cook or clean and listen to music. Anyway, you can maybe see how fluffy the mixture is with the eggs and butter and brown sugar. So I'll put that back on. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is add 1.5 teaspoons of salt and 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. And I'll whip that together real quick. And then I'll add the white sugar, which is 2.5 cups of white sugar. You get this measured real quick. Okay, that's done. I have these huge canisters. These canisters with sugar and flour hold probably about 15 pounds of flour or sugar. They hold a lot. So there's one. I just kind of level it off. 2, and then I have a 1/2 cup in here. I just leave my measuring cups in the flour and sugar because I'm constantly using them, so they just kind of stay in there. All right, so now I'm gonna put the lid back on and just stir that up real quick. So my favorite magic ingredient for these cookies is, this is just a tiny bottle of it. I just keep refilling this bottle, but it's Watkins Clear Vanilla, and I actually buy it in gallon size, which I do a lot of baking and I also sometimes give it away to clients. But yeah, this gallon probably lasts me for maybe like 1.5 years. I don't know, but this is very much a magic ingredient. There's no other vanilla that tastes or smells like this. It's seriously amazing. And I can tell if somebody makes these cookies and doesn't use this vanilla, I can tell right away. So I put 1 tablespoon in. And I'm going to go ahead and stir that a little bit. Now it's time to take off this whisk, which whipped everything up, and I'm going to add the dough hook on here to mix in all the flour. Because it's a really heavy dough, and before I had a mixer, I had to mix it with wooden spoons, and then after breaking so many wooden spoons, eventually I switched to hands to mix up the dough, so it's nice to have a mixer. All right, so let me switch out the sugar for flour container. Okay, got my giant flour container. This will take 7 to 8 cups of flour, and I'm gonna add 6 cups right away and stir it up. And then the rest of the flour I'll add, as I go. So there's 3, there's 4, 5, 6. It's not so much about the number of cups, it's more about the consistency of the dough. And what you really want is it needs to be real heavy, kind of like Play-Doh. Like your, Play-Doh you played with as a kid. So I'm gonna put the main lid on and the middle lid because this flour will go everywhere otherwise. Sometimes I just pat the side of the bowl so I can kind of get the flour off the sides. All right, so let's put this one more in here. Actually, I might change this station. All right, let's do that. Let's see how that dough looks. Okay, it's pretty. It's pretty heavy. Okay. Yeah. So it'll probably seem too dry to you. It needs to kind of seem too dry because if you don't put enough flour in, what will happen is when you bake the cookies, they'll just all flatten out. So if you want the cookies to be kind of chubby and chunky and kind of, substantial and not flatten out, then you need to put plenty of flour in. So that looks good. It's kind of like Play-Doh. Now I am going to add the 3 cups of chocolate chips. And I've put all those different kinds of chocolate chips in there, which were the Ghirardelli 60%. I know it's hard to hear when the mixer was on. These Ghirardelli non-dairy that are 52% cacao, and then these semi-sweet. So you'll be able to see the difference between all of these. So I'll try to put this, so this big giant can kind of see it's bigger than all the other chocolate chips. That's the 60%, this is the 52%, and that's the semi-sweet, the little one there. Kind of makes the cookies fun to have sort of slightly different chocolate flavors. So once you stir the chocolate chips in, if you have a mixer like this that you're using, you want to be careful not to mix it too long. One time I did that years ago, and I kind of was distracted, and I came back, and the chocolate chips had like melted into the cookie dough, and it was all, there were no more chocolate chips. It was kind of like chocolate dough. It wasn't the best. So be really careful now. So I'm gonna take the dough hook out here and put it in the sink. And then what we have left is this beautiful dough. lots of beautiful dough. This will make 48 pretty giant chocolate chip cookies, or you can make them smaller and, you know, make more cookies. So maybe, you know, 60 if you make them a little bit smaller. So, and then I always use this cookie sheet. This is an air baked cookie sheet. I don't know if you can see that, but on the back it says air bake, and it has air in between these two layers. And honestly, I've tried every cookie sheet. This is the cookie sheet that, you know, works best with these cookies. They turn out the best. I've tried other cookie sheets, and that's why I don't use anything but this. So now, get I'll use a big spoon. Kind of get the dough onto the cookie sheet real quick. They'll bake for 10 to 11 minutes at 375. So these are the cookies that I bake all over the world. So in fact, let me move the mixer here so you might be able to see just a little bit better. It's kind of in the way. So I bake these cookies, you know, all places in the US, all over South America, at different friends' homes, Australia, Europe. Most recently, I was in the UK in October, and I baked cookies for some friends there. And then the extra cookies I had, I carried with me and gave away to nice people I met along the way, like people at train stations that helped me with my luggage, stuff like that. So people were happy to get the cookies. So I'm not going to put all these on here. I'm just going to put a few on here and bake them, and then we'll just come back. I'll stop the video and then I'll start it again and show you the finished product. Get these all on here. Now, a long time ago, I used to put 4 cups of chocolate chips in this recipe, but I found that it was just like not enough cookie and too much chocolate. Some people probably think there's no such thing as too much chocolate, but yeah, I like to have a little bit of, you know, cookie dough between all the chocolate. All right, so now this is another kind of secret that I have. Let me see if I can adjust this angle a little bit on the camera. So once I kind of get the dough on here, on the cookie sheet, you kind of see I kind of form it with kind of a little ball with my hand real quick, kind of rustic. I'll just put this here. Okay, so then what I do is I just pick it up, kind of make it, kind of round it out just a little bit, and then I just kind of use my fingers and kind of roughly shape the cookie so it looks really rustic. It's not like perfectly round. Okay, let's get that done. It's kind of a little secret, so then they don't look, each cookie is very unique, so let's do that. By the way, these cookies freeze really well. So what I normally do, if I'm making them for someone to take right away, of course I'll just take the cookies, you know, fresh like that. But if I'm not delivering them for, you know, so I don't know when I'm delivering them, I will bake all the dough into beautiful cookies and then flash freeze the cookies. And then after they're flash frozen, I will put them in either individual cookie bags that I have, or I will put them into like a giant Ziploc bag, and then I kind of have them frozen, but when they thaw, they're just super fresh. Much better than freezing the dough or refrigerating the dough and then cutting the cookies. So here we have cookies ready to go in the oven. They're gonna go in now. I'm gonna shut that off and then turn it back on. Set the timer for 10 minutes.
Meet Klaviyo, the only CRM built for B2C.
Oh, turn this off for the moment.